Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 8th session of Revolution Live here on the Hebrew Canaanite YouTube channel. I am Alon, and today I have with me Elik.
Hi, I'm Elik.
Surprise
guest.
Yes, surprise guest. No one could see it coming again.
We'll have to bring more guests at some point.
Yes, at some point bring different guests over. So there was a break of I think around a week or even more than a week where I didn't go live after I had a streak of like 7 days straight where I went live, and the reason is that I was preoccupied with some stuff, and specifically I was preoccupied with a legal lawsuit that was filed against me. I can't say almost anything about it at this point because it's still ongoing. But what I can say is that, in my opinion, this is just political persecution. This is just an attempt to shut me up and to shut.
It's very clear.
Yes. So Elik is aware. Hello. We got a message. Hello from Saudi Arabia. Hello back.
Yeah.
Elik is a little bit aware of what's going on. Hello, Rivka from Florida. Hello back from occupied Palestine. Hello from Germany. Hello back from occupied Palestine. Okay, I'm going to stop saying hello to every specific person. Hello to everyone and welcome to everyone. So I will start again to say that the streak stopped because I was preoccupied with a lawsuit that was filed against me, which I believe is part of political persecution, an attempt to shut me up and to shut up my criticism of what's going on here in occupied Palestine. And the very fact that I'm calling it occupied Palestine is part of what they're trying to use to persecute me. We had to, my father is helping me a lot. My father is a lawyer, and he helped me, to an extent that is, I cannot imagine what I would have done without his help. And it took a lot of effort to we had to submit a defense. So it took a while. It took a week of very intense work. But yesterday we filed it. It's just the start of the process. Hopefully, it's good enough to just kill the thing, in its infancy. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this in the future. I will keep you updated, but again, I cannot give too many details because this is an ongoing process, and I don't want to hurt my chances of succeeding by saying too much stuff about it. When it's over, hopefully, I can tell you more about what happened and why it happened and how it happened, because I think it's very indicative of how the regime and the society in general can persecute you for trying to resist the oppressive nature of the regime, of the society.
And I think one big thing here that's Israel is a so-called democracy, but there is some democratic aspect towards the Jewish population who have the regime, the structure of the regime needs to give some privilege to the Jewish population, and freedom of speech is supposedly part of it.
Yes.
Right? But the moment, and as long as you're inside of the framework of Zionism, you're kind of safe.
Yes. Kind of safe.
Also, any criticism, it's getting more and more difficult, and I think I think, like, the moment we're getting close to the moment that it will be even dangerous to be even a Zionist lefty, and we saw already signs of it, and I think we really need to think a bit ahead of time, and maybe we always keep talking, when is the time to move out, when is the time to, and I really keep more and more feeling that I want to leave because it's just heavy, just like paranoia all the time. It's also like, I cannot push my music forward, but what I wanted to say, that the moment you step out of the Zionist framework, you're kind of, it's you put yourself, you become a prey towards many. It's not just the official, like what the lawsuit you're dealing with. It didn't come from the state.
No, like, the state is not doing it. It's someone. It's a private person who has a problem. It's a couple of people who have a problem with the kinds of things that I'm saying, and they found an opportunity to attack me personally, and they want to shut me up because they are connected to this regime, to this oppressive regime, and they, it's ironic because they're using the oppressive nature of the regime to oppress me more, to oppress criticism even more. Okay, this is the way that fascism works. There's an oppressive regime, and then the oppressive nature of the regime is being used to oppress all objection to the oppressive nature of the regime. So it, kind of justifies itself and maintains itself.
And there's dynamics that that I think it's something that is very, I don't know, I don't have an example of other settler colonies, but I feel it's part of the nature of settler colonialism as well, that you have like the natives who always pose a threat to the settler society, and then the settler society always demand from its government to become more brutal and more like, and like the fascism is driven from the population itself.
Yes.
They want the regime to become more violent. They want it
because they are afraid of the indigenous population that they are oppressing. They are afraid of their reaction, and rightfully so in some sense. So this is maybe a good opportunity to say some stuff about. Let's use the beginning of this live session to say some stuff about what Elik and I have been doing in the last few weeks and like upcoming plans. So there is a new episode of the One State Solution podcast that is already up. We just need to make it public, and we will do it immediately after this live session is over. So stay tuned for that. You will see the new episode of One State Solution. I think it's a nice one, right?
Yeah, like I think we touched on some important points. I don't know what's the difference between the lives we do and the
I think the lives are more improvised. The lives are more improvised and more raw and less structured. There's like a different inspiration that comes when we do the recorded episodes of the One State Solution.
It's both improvised, but
Yes.
Yeah, but here I'm kind of more loose.
Yeah, and here it's more open, and we answer comments, and it's like more collaborative, like someone wrote here. It's a different vibe. But it's all good, I think. So there's a new episode. The title of the episode is "Good People?" ? Okay, and we recorded it one day after the live session that we did together from Jerusalem. And we wanted to go more deeply into this question of is everyone fundamentally good? Why do good people commit evil actions, and so forth and so on? And it made us touch on a lot of interesting subjects, like the way that indoctrination and propaganda works in oppressive systems, and how it makes people subjects to these systems.
There are always more to touch about
Yes.
it, but yeah.
Yes, yes.
Um,
So this is one thing that will be up very, very soon. And you want to tell about the other thing that we've been working on, Elik?
about
The commentary
the
episode.
commentary episode. Yeah, we did in my channel an episode, 2 episodes with Mohammed Zerai.
Yes.
That's his,
That's his name, yes, Mohammed Zerai.
we need to check how he's doing, but it's really good
Yes.
episodes. It's a guy, a friend of us from Gaza, who is a very unique and smart person. We learned a lot from him, and we did 2 episodes about the life in Gaza, about the refugee issue, about the one democratic state solution that we both believe in, and we decided to take one of the episodes and to kind of, because the episode with him was so informative and we didn't have time during the interview with him to talk, to think about it, right? We kind
Yes,
of
and also we wanted to let Mohammed
Just
talk,
speak, yeah.
because it's a unique opportunity to let someone who lives in Gaza, in a refugee camp in Gaza, and also highly politically aware and highly eloquent, and wants to talk to us. We wanted to let him speak, you know.
Yeah, so we let him speak, and then we recorded an episode that we put some of parts of the interview with him, and we add our commentary because
Yes,
there was, and it actually became a very useful episode to kind of deconstruct Zionist propaganda. That's what it came out to be. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't know, but then I think
it just happened.
it just happened, and I think we're showing a lot of stuff, how the system of oppression works, how it's kind of, it made me understand a lot of things about what oppression is and how it's always have a system of like legal language that kind of try to make it look as if it's as if like the victim had any choice, but
Mhm.
actually he didn't.
Mhm.
Like, right? That's always how
Yeah.
it feels. Like,
Yeah. I had a thought today because I was reading this Facebook argument between supposedly centrist Zionists and supposedly leftist Zionists. They're all right wing. They're all just different shades of right. Zionism is different shades of right wing, different shades of fascism, in my opinion. But they were arguing around the question of, do Gazans support Hamas?
yeah,
And I find it. So I have a lot of things to say about this question: do Gaza support Hamas? So the first thing that I want to say is that the answer is not a yes or no. It's a very complicated answer. There are, over 2 million Gazans, and some of them support Hamas more, some of them support Hamas less. Each and every person has a different opinion about Hamas. Even if you ask about one specific person in Gaza, do you support Hamas or do you not support Hamas? The answer can be very complicated. And when you're talking about 2 million people, it's to the 2 millionth power. It's this complication to the 2 millionth power. So it's the answer is very complicated. And already you see how superficial this discussion is. But then I realized that like all of this discussion is so weird because it doesn't really matter the answer. If you say that they do support Hamas, or if you say that they don't support Hamas, still the conclusion that all or the vast majority of Zionists want to draw from this is that they should be oppressed.
yeah,
Because if they do support Hamas, then they're monsters and they're terrorists, so they should be oppressed. And if they don't support Hamas, then we need to destroy Hamas to save them from Hamas. So they need to be. So we need to do the bombings in Gaza. It doesn't matter. They're doing this argument between them. It's Zionists talking between them above the heads of all Palestinians about whether Palestinians support Hamas or not, to draw a conclusion that always will be that we need to bomb Gaza.
Yeah, which in reality they're right that it doesn't matter because it's illegitimate what they do.
Yes.
Like even if the all 2 million point of whatever supported Hamas, it wouldn't give them justification.
Yeah. So what? So what if they do? But for them it's the opposite. It's the opposite. No matter what the answer is, the conclusion is so like I think this whole discussion is a charade. It's a show. It's a show that they're putting on to
and also how they
to pretend
say
that one second to pretend that like there is active discussion, but the active discussion always leads to the same conclusion that is the conclusion that the system wants you to get to, which is continued oppression.
Or like I feel but you have some people who would say like not everybody support Hamas, so let's be more humane, but I find that also a bit so because what they mean is let's let them accept different softer form of oppression. Let's not just kill them all, but let's force the PA upon them, or like why do people support Hamas? Why did they get to this situation? Like I don't know. I feel that all the discussion about Hamas is it's like
it's sidetracking. It's just a distraction from the main issue that is the oppression.
And like also like framing it as if it like like I feel that part of what unique in propaganda, it's the erasure of memory. Because every person who learned just a little bit about the history, that Israel bombed Palestinians way before Hamas ever existed, that the issue of right of return and trying to erase it existed way before. And now suddenly it's Israel-Hamas war.
Yes, the entire framing is so
ridiculous. And it's again, every time it's like they tell the Israeli public, we're going and we kill terrorists. But didn't you do it a few years ago and you didn't succeed and there's still terror? Like, if you every time, like you go and you kill terrorists and you succeed, why you always fail and somehow people buy it again and again and again and again.
Because they want to. And this is the kind of deconstruction that Elik and I were doing in this commentary episode about our interview with Muhammad. And I think it's no coincidence that the moment we had a serious conversation, and we say in this episode, this is the first time we have a serious conversation about politics with someone who actually was born in Gaza and lives in Gaza, okay? This was the first experience for us. And I think it's no accident that the very fact that we had a discussion with him and heard how he sees things immediately allowed us to deconstruct all the propaganda and lies and manipulation of the oppressive Zionist system. It's just the moment you look at it from the angle of the victim, of the oppressed, everything becomes so transparent,
Yeah.
And I think this is a very general principle that we can use. If you want to deconstruct arguments of oppressive systems, just do this. Just look at things from the point of view of the victim of the oppression, and all the bullshit immediately disintegrates. Immediately becomes, oh, of course it's bullshit. Like, what does it matter? Like, it's completely parallel to what happens with carnism and the oppression of non-human animals. Every single argument that carnists raise when I speak with them, I think, okay, if I were a cow, if I were a chicken being oppressed in these horrible Holocaust industries, would it matter to me that like lions eat zebras in nature? No.
Yeah.
Would it matter to me that you have canine teeth? Would it matter to me that plants have feelings? It does. All these stupid arguments completely. Yeah. They are revealed in their utter ridiculousness. And I think this is a tool that we should always use to deconstruct arguments, supremacist and oppressive arguments.
How does it look from the point of view of the victim?
Yes, it always becomes completely ridiculous immediately.
Why is it so hard for people to do it? Because it's not, That's maybe a bit the difference between the animals oppression, that with Muhammad we could have the conversation, but
You could actually hear it from him.
But you can watch videos, like animals don't speak in words, but
non-human animals.
Non-human animals.
We are also. I'm an animal. I'm a monkey. I'm an ape. I'm an ape. You're an ape too.
Yeah.
Everyone writing in the chat is an animal. Everyone writing in the chat is an ape. Okay, you're also animals. You're also animals.
When I was 18, I was working in a dairy. I told you that, right? Like we kind of tend to push it away from the discussion because it's a question. How could I take part in it? Because I worked there for.
But you also took part in the Zionist system. You also went to military service, right?
But with a dairy, yeah, it's very similar. Because I remember I always told myself I will make sure that I treat the cows nice, and I try to make other workers treating cows nice, and there are many Zionist soldiers who go to the army and say, I will be the nicer one on the checkpoint. It's and I remember when after a few I don't know, but what I wanted to say that if you work in a dairy and you see a cow crying after you take her calf away. Some cows were crying for like a week, for a month, I don't know. So she doesn't speak in words, but it's very clear what the crying means. Like it's not that it's so difficult to understand what they're experiencing.
So I think this is a very important point, that you ask why is it so difficult for people in the superior position in a hierarchy to see things from the point of view of those they oppress? I think there's several reasons, and one of them is that it's like more convenient. It's just more convenient, and the system is built, is constructed so that it's inconvenient to look at things from the point of view of the oppressed. But also I think it takes an active decision to listen. And we made an active decision to listen to Muhammad and to talk to him, and it was very convenient for us to not do it.
But it's not that easy when there's a separation. You need to find the person who will be willing to talk to you, and I guess many Gazans now wouldn't want to speak to Israeli like Muhammad is a very special person that he re-educated himself, and he got to the conclusion that he wants to collaborate with anti-Zionist Israelis because that he understood that it's an ideology that needs to be defeated, and this collaboration is actually good tool for his own liberation. And he wanted to share and he wanted to learn, but it wasn't easy.
But to be honest, the moment you make this decision to actually listen, it's not as hard as people make it out to be. Okay, in all issues. Okay, if you are trapped in a system, in the Zionist system of Jewish supremacy, if you want to listen to Palestinians, you can listen to Palestinians. It takes stepping out of your ego. It takes stepping out of your preconceptions and actually listening. And if you are trapped in the system of human supremacy and you want to listen to cows and chickens, yes, it's easy. It's easy to do it. If you actually decide to do it, it takes stepping out of your own ego, out of your own sense of supremacy, out of the stories that have been shoved into your brain from the moment you were born. And that's also true in any other system of supremacy and oppression. It's true in patriarchy, it's true in capitalism. You told me a story that you had a conversation with someone homeless, right? A few weeks ago or a few months ago. That you just wanted to talk to him, and this is another issue, that like another aspect of the oppression that we see all around us. There's a number that's connected to you, and the number is how much money you have, and this determines your position in society. And some people have a low number, and some people have a high number. And if you have a high number, then your life is comfortable and fine. And if you have a low number, then your life is shit. And it's very easy to just ignore those who have the low number associated with them, and therefore they are homeless and they are dirty and they're aggressive, and you can tell all kinds of stories about them, about how they deserve it because they didn't work hard enough, because they are crazy, because they're lazy, because they are evil, because I don't know what. All kinds of stories. And to prevent us from actually listening to these people and to their stories. And many times when you actually listen to these people and to their stories, you find out that they were just unfortunate, or they were just, for some reason they didn't fit into society, like we don't fit into society, and our situation is also precarious.
If I wouldn't have, maybe I would have been homeless if I wouldn't have parents that would help me out in so many occasions.
Me too.
That's why I never feel I'm better than like homeless people. I'm like, okay, I'm also having a lot of hard time to survive, to fit in, but I have huge network of support that maybe they don't have.
Yes. And what happens if the Zionist regime collapses and all the numbers that are associated with us are now null and void, and now we have to be refugees? It could happen.
Yeah, it's very arbitrary.
It's very arbitrary. Exactly.
And I think that's something that also shocked me, that Jewish people don't understand. Like, it was you not so long ago, and now you've been put in a higher place in the hierarchy, and it's also temporary, and you are going to be thrown out very soon if you keep thinking that you're like, I think system of like Zionism is a very, very obvious system of supremacy, because it's really telling the people, you're Jewish, you're the masters here, you're protected, and it's so clear the moment you step out that it's like gonna be gone like this.
Yes, it could be.
It could be, and it will. I don't know, like I feel that what I do when I speak against like Zionism is because I care about my people, I don't know what it means, but I still have some feeling of, I don't know, to friends, to family, to the culture, to the community of my mother language, to the Hebrews. And I feel like they put all their faith in a ship that is going into the iceberg.
Yes.
And they don't want to look at it.
Yes. And this is why I find it very ironic that people attack me all the time. I'm being attacked for going against my own people. But when we actually speak on YouTube, we are some of the people who defend Zionists the most. When we talk about Zionists, I think there are very few people who do a better service to Zionists and to their image than we do. Seriously, I just, and we don't intend to do it. We just say the truth as we see it. And the truth as we see it is that Zionists are not bad people.
Yeah.
This is the episode that will be up shortly. This is what we were talking about. One of the subjects we were talking about. They're not bad people. They're brainwashed. They're in a certain situation. They are victims also of a system of indoctrination and propaganda.
Well, I think, it's something that I didn't say also, that a lot of, I'm thinking about many people that I like that don't speak up and don't do it. They're just afraid.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it's a justification for not speaking up when there's a genocide, but I think we're taught that we're helpless against the system since we're so young, that it's also part of it.
So maybe let's just say the point is that there is a commentary episode about the interviews that we did with Muhammad, where we kind of deconstruct Zionist propaganda, and I think, and we're editing it now. It's a long process. It's quite difficult because we need to combine all kinds of videos. We're not very good at editing. We're not professional editors, but we're doing it. We recorded it in the beginning of November. and it's now almost the end of January, but it will be out in a few days. Hopefully, let's hope
but it's a lot about
finish it.
history and
Yes.
stuff that is relevant.
Yes, it's still relevant. It's
Yeah.
still relevant. And we're doing more and more to try to edit all the materials that we have and to put everything up online. There will be very soon. There will be an episode that we recorded with our friend Manar, who was part of the Syrian revolution back in 2011.
Yeah.
2011 to 2013. Let's say.
Amazing person.
Amazing person. And his father was born in Jaffa in Palestine. And was a refugee following the 1948 Nakba, and we talked with him about what is going on in Syria now. This was also like over a month ago at this point. So we're so this is now being edited.
He's more like Syrian than Palestinian.
Yes, he's more Syrian than
He's
Palestinian.
more concerned about Syria but everything is connected.
Yes, it's connected. In the Middle East especially, everything is connected in the Middle East, and we had a very interesting and enlightening conversation with him, and this will be up hopefully shortly, hopefully. So a lot of exciting things happening. Syristinian. Levantine, yes. We have a WhatsApp group, the three of us, that's called the Levantines.
Yeah.
Let's answer some comments. Let's see.
Nice.
Oh, a lot of comments.
Tamar is commenting from the other room.
Yes. Tamar, my girlfriend, is in the other room, and she's answering your comments live. Okay, hello, and then what else? Let's see. 10% of people are benevolent, no matter what. So this is Susan Sontag's theory. I feel like I heard this name before.
What is benevolent?
Benevolent is like kind. No matter what, 10 are cruel. 10% are cruel, no matter what, and the remaining 80% can go either way. I don't know if I like this kind of thinking. I think like this essentialist thinking that people are born a certain way.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think people are born into certain situations. I think people are born with certain tendencies that are mostly neutral. And like the combination of the tendencies and the situation creates behaviors, okay? And then inside all of this, there is like a mysterious element called freedom of choice, which I don't even know how much it exists,
Or it's a myth. Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know, but the point is, and this we talked about in the episode, that if we want, our goal is not to rank people according to how good they are. Our goal is to diagnose the situation, diagnose what causes. My basic assumption is that all people are fundamentally good. I don't know if you agree with this or not, but you kind of said this in the episode, right?
That I think everybody is from
that you see the goodness in people still.
I see it, yeah.
Yeah. So never mind. But the point is,
I see something that I like about their face. I don't know if it means that they're good actually, but I think if they were just bad, I wouldn't feel these things.
Yes. But the point is, no matter what you think about this, the point is that we see systems of oppression, of indoctrination, making people do things that they don't really want to do, that they don't really believe in. They say, for example, people say, I love animals. And when they see animal abuse, they get genuinely upset. And then they go around and they pay people to abuse animals for them, to kill animals for them. How can you explain this if not through a system of indoctrination and separation of
Or someone, if you tell me, just take a random person in the street in Israel and tell him, now take a gun and shoot the person in the... But then he will go on a plane, press a button and kill.
So we see these systems working to make people do things that they don't want to do, that they don't really think are good things to do, and they still do them. So our goal is to deconstruct and dismantle these systems as much as possible, so that people have as good a chance as possible to be as good as they could be. And it's not the point to rank who is better and who is worse. The point is that we should all become better and better and better. The process that we should all become better and better and better. Every day we should be better, slightly better than the day before. And then let's see what happens. You know?
I wonder if, like, I feel we didn't touch a lot of things about in the episode, but like I think we didn't touch enough the question of authority if we go, because I think there's something that somehow people, when there's, you know, the Milgram experiment,
yes,
that they generally, if there's authority figures who tell them now it's fine, they kind of they kind of put their soul aside. I don't know how to say it, if you can say it this way.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Maybe we should do a whole episode about the role of authority in this, and about authority in general and hierarchies in general, because we want to explain our anarchist positions, and this is, I think, in the heart of this.
Like, I think before you have a very anti-authoritarian tendency.
Yes,
and
but that's how it developed.
It developed, or it existed as a pre.
There was a seed. There was a seed that was always there, and then I realized that it was a good thing to do, to challenge authority as much as I can. That I looked around me and saw a lot of violence around me, and I always saw that the violence was caused by some kind of authority that wanted the violence to happen. You know?
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like there's a inherent contradiction between morality and authority that is not pressed enough, because it's either you don't do something because you figured it out with your conscience, or you listen or you obey order, and people try to, it's like, you know, we talk about these things that are people like, it's not complex, you have to choose. You cannot obey order and say, okay, whatever this guy tells me I do, and use your conscience at the same time.
Yes.
It's either, you have to do either one of them.
Yes.
Like, I think so.
And one of the main arguments that I hear in favor of hierarchies and authority is that authority keeps the order.
Yeah.
It keeps everyone in line so that people don't do horrible things. But I am more and more convinced, the more I see the world around me and the more I think about what's going on around me, that it's the opposite, if anything. That all of this authority is causing all the violence, and that if there was no authority, there would be much, much less violence, if at all.
I guess there will still be violence, but not in this mass scale.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't see genocide. Well, maybe you see here and there people like getting into a fight or killing each other, but like,
I don't know. But maybe this is more material for the episode. So terrible stuff happening in the West Bank. Elik, maybe you want to talk about this while I go use the bathroom. Talk about what's going on in the West Bank, and then I will have my own thoughts about this.
I haven't been following today, but I know that there is kind of an attempt to, I don't know. Basically, maybe I know as much as you guys, but there was 10 people killed in Jenin. I saw many videos of people just being shot in the street. And and basically there is no ceasefire. They just moved, it feels like that they moved the killing and like, maybe it's not the same scale as Gaza, but it's like they moved the war to somewhere else. And to me, it kind of shows that this colonial machine that Israel is, it cannot really stop. Like, there's always war. Like, in a way, the concept of ceasefire is misleading, and it's clear that there is that. Like, I think what's going on is that in order to satisfy the right-wing government, they had to, and the settlers, they had to kind of give them something, and to do it in the West Bank as well. But I feel that the deeper thing is that there is no ceasefire, complete ceasefire, as long as the occupation continues, and the occupations equal the state of Israel. It's not things that you can detach from each other. So it's very frustrating. I think like there's also intention to heat up the situation, so there will be like a Palestinian response that will justify even more violence. Like there's a wish to escalate, and maybe that there will be also excuse to go back to the genocide in Gaza. I don't know. What I said along that I think that the ceasefire concept is misleading, because there is no ceasefire under Zionism. Like it's only you only like the height of the flame, you kind of change it, the location. But I think like again, like when you said that we need to look at things from the point of view of the victims. So like Palestinians don't say Israel, they say the occupation. For them, Israel is the occupation. That's how they view it, because they know it since 48. It's the same force that keeps taking the land and trying to kick them out and to get rid of them. So this for them, this is the occupation forces. It's not. It's a very material experience that they feel, that they are experiencing. And as long as the occupation is the state of Israel, will continue to exist. It will keep happening.
Yes.
And I don't know what will happen at the end, and where is it going to? Because it keeps like, I feel like in a way that this colonial machine, it knows only one direction.
Yes.
Maybe sometimes it knows, and the direction is like you oppress, you push towards escalation, and then you speed up, and at some point it's going to be stopped. I don't think that it's going to succeed, and I don't know how it's going to stop, and it's scary to. I don't know. I feel that what I'm working to is to try to stop it in the less harmful way that can be, but. Maybe it's not, and people always bring the South Africa case that it was brought down by boycott, divestment, and sanctions, but I don't know. Sometimes I think
Israel is a different. It's a different case. I think
it's more cruel. It's more crazy.
Yes, it's more deeply ingrained.
Yeah.
There are more settlers, like just on a numerical, just numerically, there's more settlers.
Yeah.
To me, what's happening in the West Bank these days, so like I was following what was going on around the ceasefire, okay? And like to the day, up until the moment that the ceasefire was declared, they were still murdering people in Gaza.
Yeah.
Murdering. And
then after.
Yes, and probably even after, I don't know, I didn't follow it so closely, because it's just, it's horrible to follow all the numbers and all the cases very, very closely. But I know that they were continuing to kill people, and then the ceasefire was declared, and immediately after, they started a new military operation in the West Bank. And this military operation, it's just I see it as something that is very akin to Kristallnacht, like the thing that happened in Germany in the 1930s, where they just killed Jews and just violence towards Jews in Germany. It looks very similar. It feels very similar. Why? Also because it's a cooperation between the state machine, the army, and civilians, like the settlers. The settlers in the West Bank, they are cooperating together, and like in most cases, like it's hard to differentiate who is this and who is this. Like a settler can put on uniform, and then they're a soldier, and the soldier can take off their uniform, and they're a settler. Like what is the difference? And it's just like two arms, two tentacles of the same, machine that is the Zionist occupation, that is the oppression of the Palestinians, and they're working together. And it's just like the conclusion that I draw from this is that this machine and this society cannot go a day without killing Palestinians. It's unthinkable to go a whole day without killing Palestinians at this point. And if
so
you need
bloodthirsty, just
yes.
bloodthirst.
Yes. And if you need proof that this needs to be dismantled, then this is the proof.
Yeah. And you know what's the thing is that, like, it ended in Gaza and such a huge defeat was exposed, like Hamas is there. They immediately took over the governing authorities, like there is so many, they recruited so many fighters, so it's like this angry masters that is both like a spoiled child that cannot stand his own defeat, so what do? I kill more, and that's how they behave.
Let's see more comments, and then maybe continue to some other points that we wanted to raise. Let's see. Is there anything you see here that you want to answer?
Who else come to the aid? What do they mean in Israel? I guess
I'm not sure. Let's see. It's a lot of interesting subjects, but it's like we can't answer everything. And about pets, yes, okay, let's talk about pets a little bit. Pets are, in my opinion, another form of oppression of non-human animals. So we live in a world where the oppression of non-human animals and human colonialism went so far and is so extreme that if you want to be kind to animals, you need to adopt them as pets. This is and you need to neuter them, and you need to spray them, and these are violent acts. When Tamar, my girlfriend, and I, we take care of 4 cats. She adopted them, and I'm their stepdad. Okay, she's their biological mother, and I'm their stepdad. Okay, and we try to do the best job that we can in helping them, in supporting them. But I don't feel like it's an equal relationship. I don't feel like it's a good relationship to have that cats are living in my house. Like it's that I'm responsible for feeding them. That I need to kind of police them. And when one of the cats who is like more territorial attacks another cat who is more anxious, then I need to kind of police everything. I don't like it. I don't like this position of power and authority. I think it's unhealthy. I think it's violent in some sense. I think it's just an expression of my human supremacy. Okay, and if I had any other choice, I would not participate in this. But because the world that was constructed by humans, okay, the world that is the result of human colonialism, which is a worldwide phenomenon, is so hostile to non-human animals, and specifically cities are so hostile to cats. It's like impossible. Like okay, so this is like the best thing that I can think of doing in this situation, like to take care of these cats, to adopt them, and to help them, live their lives in this situation. But I don't like it, and I don't think that it's a good thing. And I think, like Tamar says, in a perfect world, there would be no pets. This situation would not. We would all be equals. We would all be living. I live my life, they live their lives, and we interact, and like everything, like not not in this weird situation where I need to take care of some. What is this weird situation? Okay, there's a lot more to say about the subject of pets, but this is like the basic thoughts that I have about this. Oh wow, there's a lot of comments. Okay. People asked if we had jobs, and technically both Elik and I have jobs. But so Elik teaches music and I teach math. But it's very hard to really get a proper living out of those jobs, especially in this current situation, and especially when we're trying to do this in a serious way to run the channels and social media in a serious way.
I need to push it more, and I put too much energy, and it came to a point that I don't have a lot of income, and I need to see how do I do both, and I wonder if it's possible to do activism and to have a job. I don't know how people do it. I know people who do it, but right now I'm like teaching, but I don't have enough students.
Yes, and both of us get support from our parents, which is again an unhealthy situation in exactly the same way that I was talking about with pets. It's unhealthy.
It's unhealthy, yeah.
And we don't feel good about it, but we don't know how to manage our lives without it at this point. But maybe so I already opened a Patreon, but I never publicized it because. Even now, when I'm talking about it, I feel like it's weird that I ask people for money to do activism. Like, why should I? But then I have the opposite thought that why should people get money for destroying the planet when I'm trying to, make the planet a better place and I don't get money? Like, this is another weird situation. And this is a very sad fact that this system has taken over the world, the system of oppression, which is a compound of many, many systems, hierarchical systems, has taken over the world and over all resources, and we are all enslaved to this system. And this system rewards those who cooperate with the system and punishes those who do not cooperate with the system. And if you want to resist, you need to find kind of pockets where the system could work against itself. And this structure called Patreon and YouTube is maybe, I'm still wondering about this, maybe a loophole in the system where you can still be, provide for yourself within this system while resisting this system. This is a very deep question. Is this maybe an illusion or something that cannot ever work? But we want to kind of test this. And you were talking about starting a Patreon as well, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we should talk about this more at some point where we really think about how to do this, and we will tell you more about this. Do you have some thoughts to add about this?
No, I'm kind of now also, I more and more want to try to create a life that is more aligned with my anarchist beliefs. And I had like a thought in my head that if I just travel for a while and do my music and workshops and not and ask people just to invite me and give me like roof and stuff, I would feel it could be kind of nice of an anarchist trip without making profit, just keep me going. But I don't know if it's sustainable forever. I think I can do it for a while if I want to. It's not something that seems to me, but I wonder if like this kind of model of mutual aid societies that we help each other out to sustain ourselves, not for profit, but for helping each other out to fulfill ourselves, if it could happen. And I invite people who watch this to think about it together, because I think all of us kind of wish that solution will fall on us from the sky, how to become more free and more creative and not to serve states and corporations. And I think we need to figure this out. I didn't figure it out yet, but I feel like if one day through these YouTube videos and through conversation with people will come with a strategy how we can help each other to be more free individually, but more collaborative both at the same time, and to collaborate in a way that enforces both. Because I feel we live in a society that use both individualism and collectivism in a worst kind of ways. And I really wish we, and I think in our conversation, me and you in our episode, we try to build up something, and I feel it's still at the beginning. But you call this live series Revolution.
Yes, Revolution Live.
And I think the revolution will have to come up with a way that we find, because as individuals, we're dependent on the system. That's the thing. And then we cannot break free.
Yes.
And I think this is kind of this game. How do we break free from this dependency on the state and on the big corporations? And I don't know how we do it yet, but maybe if people here have some ideas.
I do agree that solidarity and connection with other people who share our vision to varying degrees is very, very important and critical in creating this. One person cannot resist the system. One person will be crushed immediately. But a collective of people, all individuals living in a collective, can be something that maybe can sustain itself against the system, and then resistance can actually occur. Okay, but this is again a long discussion that we need to go deeply into.
Yeah, but we will have to go into it at some point.
Yes,
and more seriously.
Yes. Okay. You want to talk about? There was a question that I saw here that I want to address, and maybe this will lead us to the one of the subjects that we wanted to talk about. The question is there no legalistic solution to end the current outbreak of settler violence? Could an activist lawyer do anything? And my answer is categorically no. No, there is no such solution, because the system is designed in a way. The laws can be written like in the law books, and they could technically be something that like technically theoretically you could use them. What is happening now is illegal, but so the fuck what? Okay, like the system doesn't really care if what is happening is legal or not legal. There is a myth, a liberal myth, that these things called liberal democracies are designed to somehow protect us. And I don't think that's true. I think these systems called liberal democracies are actually not democracies, and maybe they're not even liberal, but the point is that they're not designed to protect anyone but the powerful. Okay? If you really look at it. And this thing posing as a liberal democracy called Israel, the Zionist settler colonial project called Israel, is also designed in this way. And you see it all the time when Palestinians are oppressed. Then the laws that are so sacred, usually so sacred, and usually are, when people want to continue to oppress the Palestinians, they will call them criminals, and they will tell they broke the law. They will say they broke the law, so they need to be in jail. But then, when the system does things that are illegal to continue to oppress the Palestinians even more, then that's fine, and nobody cares. And we need to understand this, that the solution here is not like we cannot improve the situation from within the system that is the root cause of the oppression. Okay, we cannot resist the system by using the system. Like maybe, like I said earlier, there are some pockets. Okay, but generally speaking, the system will achieve its goals, and the goals of the system is to continue its existence, and the oppression of those it oppresses. It's not. There's nothing to do here. The system is doing these things. It will not. You cannot use the laws. The system knows that it's illegal. It doesn't matter that it's illegal. What are your thoughts about this? Like what can be done in the West Bank using the legal system?
I don't know, like, there is the high Supreme Court that's supposed to be, and that many lawyers, like, I'm not a law person, but we need to understand that the apartheid, the way it works is that you have two different laws system, right? Like if a settler is doing violence, he is tried in the civil court of Israel. And if you have, and the Palestinians are under martial law. And the martial law is not designed to protect them. It's designed to convict them. It's designed to put them under administrative detention.
Yes.
It's designed, and I don't know, but I had many friends I have a good friend that now she lives in Germany who went to study law in order to protect the rights of Palestinians and other oppressed group, and she gave up. She left.
Yes.
She left this profession because she felt like
it wasn't helping.
Yeah, and maybe sometime you help a bit, but like it's you playing a game that the rules are set against you. So it's like look, now we have Bagatz. Did it do anything to stop?
Bagatz is like the Supreme Court in Israel.
Yeah. Did it do anything to stop the genocide?
Bagatz, I just want to tell our audience, Bagatz means Bet Din Gavoa LeTzedek, which means High Court for Justice. Justice. And this is a tool that was used to continue the oppression and the injustice against the Palestinians.
Yeah,
very ironic.
But you have sometimes cases that Bagatz gave an order to evacuate some settlers.
Yes.
Or to
which wasn't enforced.
Yeah, it's like so slow, and it's kind of all the judicial, like before there was, but like there is this game inside Israel that there are some institutions that are meant to give Israel the face of a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have some effect, and then the liberal Zionists always try to protect them, and the right wing try to weaken them. And then, like, you are always in this situation that you think maybe if it won't be this, if you wouldn't have this institution, the situation would be much worse. Or maybe it would be much worse, but then it will be better because at least Israel wouldn't have this.
It would be apparent. Yes.
Yeah,
it would be no facade.
And I don't know if there's a direct answer, because if Bagatz could help some isolated case to say to this person, no, you should have been, like I feel it's always kind of a discussion that we need to dismantle the system. That's the answer.
Yes. And this connects to someone asked a question. Okay, what's the amazing alternative to liberal democracies? And I want to use this question, which I think is not an actual. This is the point. I don't think it's an actual question, because let me do an analogy.
Okay.
Whenever I speak about the oppression of the Palestinians with Zionists, they always ask me, okay, so what do you suggest? This is a cliche by now. Ma ata metzia in Hebrew.
Yeah.
What do you suggest? What do you suggest? What do you suggest? And let me try to deconstruct the situation here, the rhetorical situation here. So I'm trying to diagnose problems. I'm trying to say there is oppression here. There is violence here. There is murder here. There is inequality. There is injustice. There is, a genocide going on. And so forth and so on. And then immediately, without even acknowledging what I said and my diagnosis of the injustice and the violence and the oppression, they always go immediately to, okay, what do you suggest? What do you suggest?
And this question, my point is, let us first acknowledge what the situation actually is. Let us first acknowledge the violence, the inequality, the injustice, the oppression, the genocide, okay? The apartheid. Let's first acknowledge it. And after we acknowledge it, after we actually see reality around us for what it is, then we can start asking, okay, so what is the correct way to go forward and how we can improve the situation? But I think this is a rhetorical trick that is being done because the people who ask, what do you suggest? They are not in the situation where they actually acknowledge that the system has problems. They want to shut me up. The goal is to shut me up in my criticism of the systems, to say, what do you suggest? What do you suggest? They're not asking a question, they're making a statement. And the statement is, you are saying that the situation now is bad, but my opinion is that the situation now is good because of the system, and nothing else will ever be even slightly better than the situation now. Okay? This is their argument.
But don't you think that the person who criticized need to pose an alternative to the
I
system?
very much think that when you criticize, you need to pose an alternative. But I don't think that I need to fall for rhetorical tricks. I don't want to be a sucker, okay? And I don't want to fall for rhetorical tricks. If someone actually asks me, what do you suggest? And I have a lot of different answers for what I suggest. And I tried this following October 7th and before October 7th many times. But especially following October 7th, I wrote on Facebook a lot in Hebrew for about 2 months. I wrote every day in Hebrew. And a lot of times I got this response. What do you suggest? And I invested hours upon hours in writing comments that specify a lot of different suggestions. And everything, because I knew that the question wasn't coming from a good place. I knew that the question wasn't coming from an actual curiosity about what I'm suggesting, but I wanted to give these people the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to try. And I tried, and I wrote very long and detailed comments about what I am suggesting. And immediately people, they didn't listen to what I had to say. There was zero discussion about what I suggested, okay? And this proved to me, in hindsight, that they weren't coming from a genuine place of asking what I suggested, okay? And I think we don't need to fall into this rhetorical trick. We need to see that these kind of questions come from a place of conservatism, of trying to protect the system from the criticism that is being expressed at the system. And I am only willing to have the discussion of how to improve the situation with people who actually agree with my criticism of the current system. If they don't agree with my criticism of the current system, then why should I have this discussion with them? It's not an actual discussion. It's a waste of my time and energy. And it's a trick that I don't want to fall into. And I think that this is the same kind of situation. Okay, so you're assuming my question is rhetorical, yet you were critiquing liberal democracy, and I was just wondering if you think there is an alternative system that can work in place. Adam, I'm sorry, I still think that your question was rhetorical and they trick. Listen to how you phrased it. Listen to how you phrased it. It was very, very aggressive. Okay, so what's the amazing alternative to liberal democracies? I can sense the sarcasm. I wasn't born yesterday, Adam. I can sense the sarcasm. But let me give you the benefit of the doubt and say that Elik and I personally, Elik also, have a lot of thoughts about how society should be, okay? And for me, for example, I want a non-hierarchical structure where no one has authority on anyone else, or where authority is always challenged, okay? Where authority is not something that is taken for granted. For example, this is one thing that I suggest. I don't know. We can have this discussion, but first of all, I want to emphasize that the current situation is so horrible that anything else would be better. I think.
I think, but I feel that this kind of discussion, there is inherent problem into it from both sides, because the person who is, let's say, I prefer liberal democracy because it's something I know, and maybe it has problems, but it's better than something else. And the person who says like, I want to offer something else. So you always have some, like when you advocate for something that is already existing, you have some kind of
Advantage.
You have some kind of advantage because this is what existing. So you can always feel like it's already there. And when you advocate something that you don't exist, you have advantage and misadvantage. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes, but I also think that there are things that exist or that did exist or that could very obviously exist that are different from liberal democracies. And also this doesn't contradict, like, we have to understand the history, the structure, and the interests of liberal democracies. Liberal democracies are systems that were designed by people in power to keep their power. If you don't acknowledge this, then I don't know how we can have a discussion. This is just a historical fact. Please watch a series, I will look it up, The Dark Side of Liberalism. The Dark Side of Liberalism, it really opened my mind, because this is a series that analyzes liberal democracies. Hold on, I will find the link. That analyzes liberal democracies. It's a 5-part mini-series on YouTube that really influenced me. It shows the history of the construction of these structures called liberal democracies and the interests of the people who constructed them. So please, here is a link. Please watch this. I think that this is very important information there. Okay? And if we don't acknowledge that these systems were constructed to keep oppressing people who are poor, okay, and that do not own property, that do not own land, that do not own the means of production, and so forth and so on. If we do not acknowledge this, then the discussion is I think, completely disconnected from actual reality, from what is actually going on. Okay, that's fair. I'm genuinely not trying to be rhetorical, but understood. Okay. I just hear criticisms from all political sides of liberal democracy, and usually they have valid critiques, but no solution. I think this word solution is also a problem. What we don't want a solution. Solutions are something that you know who used the word solution. Okay, we're not trying to give solutions. We're trying to make things better. Okay, make things better. And if you want to make things better, you want to diagnose problems. You want to see what kind of problems exist in the current system and why these problems exist in the current system, and then we can think together about how to make it better. Okay, but I don't think that I need to offer a solution, because then it's like, okay, so what do I need to do? Like, what is the mission now? The mission now is to offer a different system. I, as an anarchist, do not want to offer a system. I don't want to impose a system from outside. I think it's anti-anarchical. Okay, and I think any attempt to impose a system to organize society from above and from outside is doomed to fail and doomed to bring us to a situation of authority that is unjustified and unchallenged, which will create more and more and more problems. Okay, maybe we should have a deep discussion about that as well. What do you say?
Yeah, I do feel, I must say honestly that part of what I'm doing with you and with other people and lives I do that I did in Instagram and talk with that I feel that I still need to think about it together. Like I recognize the problem in our current both in the idea of states, and I see that these problems are intolerable. And you can say you're for democracy, but then you see that the liberal democracies are enacting genocides all over the world. And maybe what you feel as a good thing is that it's only a system of privilege, right? I think like if you look at the apartheid in Israel, Israel-Palestine, that's you have a so-called population that live under democracy.
Yes.
But it's enacting genocide on other society that lives next door. Now, I don't think this is something that is only a Israel phenomenon. I think if you look at the world system, Israel is a kind of
it's a microcosm.
It's a microcosm, and people who live in liberal democracies in Europe and the United States feel like, oh, we created this amazing system. We have freedom of speech.
Yes.
We can go and buy stuff in the mall or whatever. But then you take a zoom out and you see, part of thing that I have some more rights than others, but these others are being massacred in masses in other side of the world. And I don't like that. I don't feel that this is a real freedom. And me being on the privileged side doesn't mean that I'm really free.
Yeah, this freedom is an illusion. You have freedom of speech only when you say the things that the system wants you to say.
Yeah, and also, like, there are people on the other side of the world that being killed in order for me to have that freedom, maybe it's not a real freedom. We want something else. What is this thing? We have to think about it together. We're still in the part of interpreting and analyzing, but I think the moment we find ways to detach ourselves, we don't need to come up with a model. We need to free ourselves. We need to talk about it, to talk together and come with practical solutions, how we get out of this mess. But I feel that I'm kind of need to be humble, and to Adam, if you're still here, like, I don't know what the solution.
Adam is still here. He's saying, I think just offering a solution on the fly is a hard task. Yes, we agree. It's just people then revert to other systems that don't just address their problems, but are arguably worse. I agree with you, Adam, and I think that this is part of the problem, that it's very, very hard and scary, and against our education, our upbringing, to think creatively about how we can organize society in different ways. I see a lot of people around me who keep reverting to the things that they know, even though the things that they know are causing immense harm. Like, just let's look at the most extreme example. Humanity is now polluting the world and creating a climate crisis that will maybe, probably, I don't know how probable it will be, but maybe destroy humanity as we know it. And still people will not think creatively about solutions. The most creative thing that they can do is to use the liberal democracies and the capitalist system that created this problem to maybe manage this problem in a way that it won't be completely horrible very soon. Like, this is the most that they are willing to be creative about this. And we need something more creative. We need to free ourselves more. We need to challenge our basic assumptions more. We need to challenge the transparent assumptions of the system as much as we can, because otherwise we are doomed. And not just we are doomed, but already the world is in a situation where the vast majority of living beings are being oppressed in ways that are horrible beyond any imagination. If you are not a slave, an actual slave, then you are part of the 0.00000, I don't know how many zeros, 1% of the population of living beings who are not enslaved. This is a situation that, in my opinion, is completely intolerable, and any change would be a change for the better. Like, I feel like I live in an actual hell. Even though I'm privileged, I look around me and I feel like I'm living in an actual hell, and I want to change it for the better. And
I don't want to continue to play this game of, okay, you have no better suggestion. Let's think of a better suggestion together. Let's think about it together.
I will have to go soon, so
Yes, okay. So let's try to wrap things up. We've been going on for a long time.
yeah.
Let's try to wrap things up. I don't know. My generation got a bill for clean air and clean water. 50 years later, we are still waiting for it. I don't know what you mean exactly. Can you clarify what you mean? But I feel like there's a point here that relates to what we were talking about. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like we're also tired here.
I don't follow, but anyway, if you see something,
I don't know. Everything here seems to me like it will open up an entire discussion of an hour. So I don't know. Maybe Elik, if you have some thoughts, we can wrap it up in a few minutes and continue tomorrow or maybe the day after that.
My thoughts that I think freedom is like something that we all seek and we don't know how to get it, and I don't know if there's a point where you're completely free, but I think our freedom is connected. Like when we're enslaving, we're also not free, we're kind of and I think we need to kind of, what we're doing here is to find it out. There's no like we don't come here and look, we have a solution.
Yeah, there's no formula. There's no formula.
Formula. But it's very important to spot the lies, the propaganda. And I don't know, I do feel like that sometimes intellectuals and critics find pleasure in spotting the flaws of the system, because you get some sense of like joy of doing it and feeling of superiority. I'm not saying it about us, and they stuck in this stage of like, yeah, I see the lies, I'm great, you know, and I feel I'm also like this, like I'm saying it also about myself, and the question, what's next, and what do we do, and how do we and I know that the moment people will start, and I feel like we talk about revolution, and I'm also scared of it too. So I always feel like there is and I don't know what it is. And I know from history it can be violent, and it can be just for changing. It's just, a lot of time we call revolution just to the change of the ruling class, and this is not what we want. So I don't know. Yeah.
So let me give an example for like, okay. So when Zionists ask me, what do you suggest? My first suggestion is that everyone living between the river and the sea has a vote.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Okay, very simple.
Yeah.
And then immediately I see that the Zionists didn't really ask me what I suggest, because I suggest this.
And they say no.
And they say no. Immediately. They say no. And there's no discussion. Okay? Absolutely zero discussion. And when people ask me what I suggest in all kinds of areas, I have ideas. Like, for example, with capitalism, I have a suggestion. Let's erase all the numbers associated with specific people. Let's start from zero. Okay, where you say that this is a meritocracy. You say that let's erase all the numbers. Let everyone have the same number connected with their bank account, and start all over. Oh, you're against this. Why are you against this? Maybe this exposes that you never really asked me what. There's so many suggestions that are so simple, and those who ask you what you so simple and so like neutral. Like, of course, if you were coming to this from a pure place, you would agree to them immediately. I would.
Yeah, just erasing all.
Yes. What's the problem?
Everyone have 0?
Yeah, what's the problem? Why not? Okay, you know what?
I don't know if it's a good idea.
Okay,
Maybe, I don't know.
I think you're exposing yourself now, but never mind. Okay, I go one step back. No inheritance tax. No inheritance. No possibility to inherit money from your parents. Okay, this doesn't happen anymore. Okay, not from your parents. Just you're on your own. You're on your own. Everyone has the number, and now we start. Or you know what? Just same system as before. Same system as before, but tax actually is higher the more you have. So that the system doesn't go more unequal. You know, like I have a lot of suggestions. A lot of people have a lot of suggestions, and they are never implemented. And I think that the reason that they're never implemented is because the system doesn't want them to be implemented, because the system is constructed in a way that it leads to more inequality, to more oppression. And then I go back, okay, I need to dismantle the system. Okay. I think we should talk about this in more depth. I think this is a very important subject, but for now, thank you everyone for participating in this very messy, impromptu live session. I think my plan for the near future would be to do like 3-4 times a week to go live. Maybe sometimes Elik will join me, maybe sometimes other people will join me, we will see. Going live.
You invite people to go on screen, or it doesn't work in YouTube?
I think it is possible technically. If someone knows how to do this, like to
I think you need to connect it with Zoom or something.
Yeah, like to use Zoom or some other program to do a live that is like on my channel, but I invite people and I talk to them. Then that would be amazing if you can explain to me how to do this, because I just don't have the technical knowledge.
Try Tamar, I think that's a good idea.
On how to do it.
Join your live.
Yeah, maybe Tamar can join the live, but she is a little bit camera shy, so don't have any big expectations. And again, maybe 3-4 times a week, because every day is just too difficult. 3-4 times a week. This is my goal, and we will continue this discussion. I think this discussion is very important, very interesting. Tamar likes being behind the scenes. Okay, so continue, Tamar, and thank you. Thank you everyone for being with us again. After this live is over, we will upload the next episode of the One State Solution podcast, episode 12, titled "Good People?" We will upload the commentary episode on our conversation with Mohammed Zrai. We will upload the episode where we talked with Manar from Syria, and many more exciting things, right?
Yeah.
We have the conversation with Sima that we had that we need to continue to
I'm
finish.
gonna release some music soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to tell about this? Just 1 minute. Tell about this, and then we will end the
I
session.
have 4 songs that I don't know how I'm going to release them, but they're already recorded and almost done. One is Ima Tayarita Bo, it's in Hebrew, but it's a song about order followers. We talked about authority and stuff.
Yes, and responsibility.
The Genocide song, I don't know if people know it, there's already a version of it that I did with Ayelet. If you want to go look for it,
I'll find the link.
Disillusioned podcast.
Disillusioned, okay, and then tell about
Yeah, and we did 6 songs there. Maybe we will put the song, but if you find this song, if you listen to this song, you will see other as well. That
here is the link to the song.
Yeah, and so this song, Jewish Brother. And
yes, Jewish Brother appeared on the very first episode of our podcast Yalla, where we had Daniel Mate on.
And actually there are already going to be many versions of it out, and what I recorded is just another version. That's how I like doing my stuff.
Yes.
And Palestine, oh Palestine.
Palestine, oh Palestine.
That will be out later, right?
Yeah, that will be out later. So, and I'll keep try to do music. If people want to, yeah, I don't know. When I'll have a Patreon and stuff, I will say I don't have yet, but I hope if people here have music studios and want to collaborate musically somehow or help me, or, yeah, I don't know. I will find ways to.
The bottom line is we want to be more serious in our activism. We want this to grow. We want this to be better. It's very, very hard in occupied Palestine. It's very, very hard under capitalism. It's very, very hard in the current situation to do the kinds of things that we are doing, but we are working hard and we will not stop. We want to find a way to live our lives in ways that align with our actual values of equality, of justice, of anarchism, of peace, of love, of compassion, of all these positive things. We want to make them a reality, and we want everyone to be able to make them a reality. And we're, it's very easy to fall into pessimism, but we're trying to avoid this. We're trying to continue anyway, and to make it happen in reality. Okay, so thank you, Elik, for joining me on this live session.
Stella, Elik, let's play. Yeah, contact me.
Yes. If you want to collaborate with Elik musically, you can contact him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm writing the Instagram. And so, thank you, Elik, for joining me and for helping me to reignite this series of Revolution Live. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping it going. I have to go soon, very soon.
Yeah, thank you for to everyone for joining us and for writing interesting comments.
Yeah.
And peace and justice for all, and long live the revolution.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.